and welcome to Millennial Musings. I'm Isabella.
And I'm Gladys, and welcome to Millennial Mess. In this episode, as you may know, or maybe not, we look at some Am I the Asshole stories that kind of relate to the topics that we've covered, or we talk about some other interesting things that we saw online.
Exactly. So get ready for it's for a chill episode. It's going to be chill. The last one was a bit of a drag. I got feedback from listeners saying it was very depressing, which is true.
It is depressing.
I'm actually wearing something I should have worn last week. It says it's my red-handed merch saying not in this economy.
Oh, I love that one. I want not in this economy merch, but they don't have it. Well, they do have it up to like an XL or something. So then they're not very size inclusive.
Give them feedback.
Maybe I will.
Gladys, how are you doing? Do you have any highs and lows since we last recorded?
Not much has happened. I've literally been stuck in the house all week because it has been raining, and I was just working from home. I wasn't feeling that well. I don't know. I just felt very exhausted, so I didn't really leave the house that much. But on the flip side, nothing really bad happened. I don't really have any lows. I think my high would be that I worked on a new newsletter, and I just published the first one today. Well, not today when you're listening. It will have been out for a couple of days, but on the day of recording. And yeah, I'm kind of happy with it. Like in general, I am writing more and really posting something every week on my Substack. So I'm kind of proud of that.
Yes, and everyone should subscribe to that newsletter. We should link it to the description box because I was reading it this morning when I was having my cup of coffee, and it felt really nice.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Did you feel like it had any, value? Because I guess then in that, with things like that, my imposter syndrome or whatever you call it is always like, who needs this? Like, honestly, who needs to know where you went for a walk? Nobody cares. Then again, that is literally what every single online creator does, is talk about themselves.
I was just going to say, I do think it has value. I mean, the main people I follow currently on Instagram, well, I say main people, I have like 2 people, but I don't follow many other content creators in that sense. And all they post is typical day of a 29-year-old corporate girly, and she does basically the same reel every day. Her evening and her morning routine. Sometimes she talks a little bit that she does something different, like tonight I'm going yoga, and I love it because it just calms me down. There are people living normal lives out there. So yeah.
Okay, well, thank you. Yeah, that's good
also,
to hear. I mean,
you're recommending a really good podcast at the end, so
yeah, my favorite podcast. But also some other ones, and I talk about books, and then I include like a bit of writing in there, some London tips, or if I go abroad, then that will be a part of that as well. So yeah, there's all kinds of stuff in there. So we will link it.
Yeah, you should. I'm sure my mom will subscribe.
Oh, well, she's very welcome. She's a very dedicated follower. Yes. So
okay, it's her birthday today, by the way.
Oh my god! Like today, today, or
today, like the day we're recording.
Well, alles Gute zum Gehtag.
Zum Geburtstag.
Do they not say Gehtag?
No. What's a Gehtag? Is that the Dutch word?
No, like the abbreviation.
I don't know. I've never heard it.
I don't know. I think I've seen that.
It should be a thing.
I know it's good. Okay. Alles Gute zum Geburtstag.
So, let's get into this. The first one is going to be very short. So this is a girl that said, I received a bunch of roses and a teddy bear in the post on Valentine's Day. I had no idea who they were from. I was very excited though. Maybe I had a secret admirer. Then, the next day, my ex messaged me saying, hope you enjoyed the day, thinking that someone actually likes you. They were from me. Well, at least the roses were expensive and pretty.
I'm confused. What, did he mean that in like a petty way?
Yeah.
Oh, to be hurtful?
Yeah,
to be like,
I think,
haha,
I think so. It was like, well, I guess you thought someone actually likes you, but haha, it was just me.
That is that is so sad. And also, like, joke's on you, bud. Like, you spent money on this and went through the trouble of, like, sending that and everything.
Roses as well. Roses are really expensive, especially on days like Valentine's Day.
I don't know. I think it says a lot more about him that he has nothing better to do than, like, send his ex things in this kind of, like, hateful, like, spiteful move. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, it's probably good that it's her ex and not her boyfriend anymore.
Oh, yes.
Okay, and then I've got another one, tiny bit longer, but not really. So that's she didn't send it to us. I found it online. Jenny, 25. She said, I went on a first date to a bar on Valentine's Day, and the guy was just awful. He kept answering his phone instead of talking to me because apparently he had clients in the US and a business deal to sort in LA. They were based in the UK. His massive watch gave me the ick too. It wasn't going well, but he tried to be flattering. At one point he said, isn't it cheesy to meet on Valentine's Day? But it could be a cute story to tell people about how we met should this work out. There were also 3 young waiters at the bar, and when my date went for yet another phone call, one of them said, well, we all think you are too good for him. So we decided we'd have to do something if he left the table yet again. So after the third phone call, I told the waiters I was done with this shit. And one of them stood near the terrible date to check he wasn't coming back, and the other 2 discreetly snuck me out of the restaurant via the side door, like a celebrity trying to avoid the paparazzi.
I think when you work in restaurants, I don't know, that seems like that could really be the highlight of your day, just observing these people's situations.
Oh, yeah.
And being like, okay, we need to step in.
This is going too far. I love it. I would hopefully do the same if I still work in a coffee or somewhere.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, actually, I just earlier today, I think, saw like a little clip from a podcast called Go Love Yourself. We both follow it. Well, actually, I think you recommended it to me. They talk a lot about like body positivity and diet culture and everything. And they said that it was something like how the first date should be seen as a 0.5 date, kind of like an introduction to dating, and it should just be the rule that it's not longer than 1 hour and that you go for coffee and a walk or something, so that you should like meet at 1 p.m. and you should just immediately tell them from the start, like, I have plans at 2 p.m. so we're going for like a quick coffee and a walk. That way you don't, end up in the situation that I ended up in when I went on a date a couple of years ago, which was get stuck in this date that lasted for 8 hours, in which he did not ask me a single question about myself and just talked about himself the entire time. I mean, now today I would just
stop it.
Leave. I would just be like, okay, I need to get up tomorrow. Bye. But yeah, I don't know. That requires some confidence, I think, because it just can be very awkward. So yeah, I actually agree. I do think it should be very normalized to just for the first date to be really quick,
like a screening call. Like when you have a job interview, the first call is just a quick check-in. Are you real?
That is such a good comparison. Yes, like don't immediately go for like a 3-course meal on the first
I did. Literally, my boyfriend and I, we went on a meal, then we went for cake, then we went for gin, or the other way around. It was literally a 6-7 hour date, but I mean, it worked out. It was a good date.
If it goes well. Yeah, if it goes well. If like after that 1 hour, like the walk and everything, if then you want to be like, let's go for a drink. I actually don't have plans. But,
oh my God.
Yeah, I don't know.
I had a 25-minute date, 20-minute date with a guy once. I was at uni. We were just messaging and we matched on an app. But the only reason I matched with him was because my friend or my then roommate said, oh, her then boyfriend is actually friends with him and he's really nice and we should do it, blah, blah. We should meet. And then we did meet. He came to uni. We literally just said, let's go have a quick coffee. Worst date of my life. He was just talking about tennis. He was just talking about himself. He would wait. I mean, I don't care if I open the door for someone, but he was so actively trying not to open the door. And then it was raining and I had my umbrella and I was like, oh, do you also want to be like use the umbrella? And he just fucking took the umbrella and walked ahead of me. I was not under that umbrella anymore. And I literally at some point was like, yeah, I gotta go back to class, even though I was just going home. It was such a weird date. And I don't care about tennis. And he talked so much about tennis. And I don't know anything about tennis. I don't know what he was talking about.
Okay. About the tennis thing, I was about to say maybe he was just, word vomiting because he was nervous, but no, the umbrella thing and everything, no.
It was just really weird. I don't know. Anyway.
Well, at least it was short.
It was very short. Okay, do you have a story for us?
I do have a Valentine's Day story. So, yeah, let's go. This is a woman who says, we've been married for 5 years and we have 2 children. One quirk of my husband's. Oh, I actually also want to say that this might be, I might disagree with the Reddit vote. I don't know. We'll see. Yeah, we'll discuss later, of course. Okay, so married for 5 years, 2 children. One quirk of my husband is that he's a very direct written communicator to the point of being rude, both personally and professionally. At work, he'll write emails like K, like literally the letter K, and his assistant will then rewrite them before hitting send. He's always been this way, even as a kid. We text a lot because he works and travels a lot. He's good about texting back, but he doesn't tend to initiate, and he will be very short in replies. Like, for example, if he's taking a taxi from the airport, he won't text me when he lands, but if I say, hey, did you land? Can't wait to see you, heart, he'll respond, yes, 15 minutes, that kind of thing. I have told him that for practical and emotional reasons, I need a little more from him in written comms. So now he'll throw in emojis or not abbreviate as much as quite as much, but he has a way of making me feel like I'm the weird one and he's just indulging my weird quirks. Is indulging the right word here? I don't know. Like putting up with my weird quirks. In person, he's fine. He'll give compliments freely, show PDA, tell me and the boys he loves us, etc. So this brings us to Valentine's Day. I gave him a cool present for him to enjoy with the boys, along with a nice card with a personal message. He gave me this wrapped box that said, to the woman I love, in Sharpie on the wrapping paper. 2 as in the number. My initial reaction was a bit, what the fuck, but I didn't show it and instead opened a very lovely, very expensive necklace. I thanked him and we moved on, but I couldn't stop thinking about how every store in a 50-mile radius had at least a few Valentine's Day cards in the racks, and couldn't he be bothered to get one and put his name on it? Especially when I've repeatedly expressed that I appreciate it when he puts effort into written communication like that. We've had conversations about love languages and everything, and I've worked really hard to subtly reinforce it when he does do it. Like, oh, I really loved the flowers, but I love that personalized note even more, so I'm putting it on my dresser now. It just made me feel like he wasn't paying attention to my needs or wants. I've been sort of stewing over it, deciding whether to talk to him about it, but I told my dad, and he said I was being ungrateful and spoiled, and that it wasn't a big deal, and that I should just accept this as his personality. What do you think?
Okay, so this is funny because I have kind of become a card writer, but I never was one, and I still don't feel like a person who should write cards because it's just not something I'm good at. It makes me anxious. It's like replying to a really long text message and I'm not allowed to send a voice note. Like, I don't know. It just makes me feel like I can't do this right now. So in his scenario, in his situation, I'm like, okay, he gives her a present, he gets her flowers, he's obviously seems like a nice guy in person. I think that's fine. Like, some people just really don't like texting, some people just don't like using emojis, and we get into that a bit later on because apparently we're old for doing that. Anyway, so I wouldn't be too upset about not getting a Valentine's card or like a birthday card. But then on the other hand, what I like is out of nowhere having like a cute little note, like just a post-it somewhere, or I don't know, I love a little love letter. I think they're cute, but then I think they don't need to be coming as part of a celebration. Like, I think they mean a lot more to me than a birthday card who you can just buy in the store and only have to sign your name underneath or something.
Yes. So, so she got voted the asshole, and everyone in the comments was like, I mean, he literally bought you like an expensive gift and you're upset that he didn't give you a cheap card. Like, what the hell? People didn't really understand this. Two things. First of all, about the texting. When someone is like very short in their texts, texting is weird because you have no facial expressions, you have no body language, you have no tone. So then when people are very short, like different to how they are face to face, I also get that feeling of like, what is wrong? You know? I know that, like, I don't know, also at work when there's people who, like, I use a lot of emojis at work because I'm also like, I don't know, why not? Like, I would smile in real life. I would smile if it was an actual conversation. Why would I not be allowed to smile in a message? So I do that because I don't know. And then when people don't do that and they're like very matter of fact and they're very much like yes and no and nothing else, I really start feeling like, okay, am I getting fired? Like, what's up? So yeah, I don't know. When people are like very short with texting, like I get it. I do get it that like you have other things to do. Sometimes you just don't have much time or whatever. But I would be lying if I said I didn't sometimes get that feeling of like, why are you being so short?
Yeah, well, I think the thing for me is I'm the same. Like if some people don't use emojis, I'm like, whoa, are we over? Like what's going on? But it depends. Like it depends if it's always the same way of communicating. I mean, if you would look through my phone with my boyfriend, it's like, I'm so short because I'm like, we're going to talk tonight anyway. Like, why would I have to get into this right now? And I don't use that many emojis either. But it's like, that's just how it is in general. Then I have friends who I use emojis with, like with you, but not because I think you need it, just because that's how it always was. Like, it needs to be. If it's like constant, it's fine. If it's all of a sudden changing, like if you start texting me short without an emoji, I know I pissed you off.
Exactly. Like I have friends who, like my friend Jonas, he's so serious when he texts. He like doesn't use any emojis. He's just very, very much like, I don't know, just like the basics. And this is so different from how he is in real life. So in the beginning, I also, every time I felt like I was bothering him, but now I know that's just how he texts. And I probably also use less emojis with him because that's just how he texts, like you said. But yeah, it really depends. But
I don't think she's an asshole though, because she's just saying that's my love language in a way.
So yes, that's the other thing about the card in particular. My love language is words as well. And I really love a good card. And for Valentine's Day, I literally got a card and a box of my favorite chocolates. And that was perfect because I really love a card. And I don't know, like I really understand that some people are just not good with written communication or they just don't like it. I do think he needs to maybe think about how he corresponds like professionally, but that's another thing. But yeah, like I get that people maybe don't. So for some people it's just not important at all, and yeah, this is exactly where the love language thing comes in, because then people in the comments were also like he gives you that reassurance verbally, like he tells you in real life. But if you're the kind of person who really thinks that having it like on a card or something, I don't know, if you really like that and if you think that's important and if you've already kind of addressed that, then I think like it is a small thing to do if you know that it will make that person very happy. I don't know,
than expensive gifts.
Yeah,
like my Valentine's Day. For Valentine's Day, I got a jacket potato, and I loved it.
Oh my god, I love that.
It was dinner, but it was a very big potato.
That's all you need.
Okay. Instead of reading another story, I think I go into the Reddit thread I got caught up in. And the heading of that thread was, "At what moment did you realize, fuck, I am old?" So, some comments in the Reddit thread were quite funny to me. The first one was, so that person said they realized they were getting old when they fell down at work and no one laughed. Instead of people laughing, 3 people came running over to make sure I was okay. And I'm only 36. I was walking in our break room and stepped down wrong, I guess. I fell into the stove and rolled. I don't know what that means, fell into the stove. Did he fall into an oven? Anyway, he fell and he rolled his ankle.
I think that it might be something different. It might be like a fireplace, but like a closed one.
Oh, okay, good. That makes a lot more sense.
Yeah.
So yeah, I guess I kind of found that one really funny because what they were then commenting beneath his answer was like, oh yeah, because when you're like younger and you fall down, people will always find it funny, and it's like, haha, have you seen how he fell on his face? But I guess as you get older, it's just getting worrying for other people. Then another comment was, I was in the car, I had the radio on, and they played Green Day on the classic rock radio station. Well, I loved Green Day when I was younger, but
oh my god, I cannot with them. That's like that is honestly like the one genre I think that I just cannot deal with. Oh my god, they all of these singers sound exactly the same, like this nasal kind of like still sounding like they're 16. And it's also, I'm sorry, like all of their songs are kind of the same. Like,
Did you not listen to, and I might need to cut this out because I'm going to embarrass myself, but did you listen to Blink-182 or Linkin Park?
No.
Did you not have an emo face? Not at all?
Absolutely not.
Oh my god. So I'm watching Vanderpump Rules. The 3 girls, Adriana, Sheena, and I forgot the third one. They are DJing something called Emo Night in LA. And it's literally just a night out where those are the only songs that are playing and some other more emo-y bands. And I would love to go there. It would be amazing. I can't believe you never listened to that or liked it.
I never listened to any of those bands, no.
Oh well, that's something new I learned about you.
I literally know one Blink-182 song now, and it's because it was
on the
Kardashian episode. Yeah, and then I was like, oh, this is kind of nice. And then I did look it up and listen to it a couple times. That's it. I've never been into those kinds of bands ever. I mean, of course, fine if you are. But that has never been. I feel like it all sounds very much the same. The voices, like the singers, all sound the same to me. That like very, like I said, like that nasally kind of singing. It's not for me. It's not for me.
I mean, I do have to say, you just sound old describing those bands.
It's like old people who are like, oh, when you go to clubs and it's just like boom, boom, boom.
Yeah, literally. That's how it sounded. Well, talk about music. Another comment was, I went to a concert and I held up a lighter to an emotional song. Everyone else was holding up their cell phone. I actually haven't held up a light. I remember going to concerts where people were holding up lighters. That was mainly on festivals, though.
Yeah, but I'm sorry, how does that work? Because every time I tried to do it, my finger was on fire within like 2 seconds.
I don't know. It worked for me, I think.
No, it's I don't know. Either it goes out or it gets too hot. No, that one I get. Not doing that.
I mean, it's probably also safer. I was always a bit worried my hair's going to catch fire. Then another comment said, I saw a comment the other day saying that we are closer to 2050 than we are to 1990. And that just made me feel old. And it does sound a bit wild, I have to say.
It does. I mean, for me, it's mainly realizing that like people like my brother, he was born in 2001 and that he's like in his early 20s now. That really, I remember that day like it was yesterday. So that is weird, but yeah. Or like I said last time, I still feel like 2018 was like it is 2018 or something. I still feel like 2011 is like a couple of years ago.
5 years ago. I know.
Yeah.
It is wild. That's why I think, oh yeah, it must have been like 5 years ago. And then I realized, oh my God, 5 years ago, I've been living that long in the UK now. And then I've got a personal one because I was thinking, what was one of those moments for myself? And mine is mattresses. Mattresses have shown me that I got old because when I was younger, I did not know any difference between a good and a bad mattress. Of course, like some beds were a bit more comfy than others, but now I actually can get a genuine, really good night's sleep if the mattress is perfect. Like the mattress I had on holiday in that Italian hotel, it was so amazing because, and I told you this before, but I have to turn a lot because my shoulder just starts hurting usually when I sleep. But I woke up in that hotel in the middle of the night and I was like, oh my God, I don't have to turn. I can if I want to, but I don't need to, whereas otherwise I have to. And yeah, I do feel like I am now the princess sleep. How is that story called in English? You know, the princess that sleeps on a pea. Is that even a thing in the UK?
I have no idea.
Anyway, I feel like that one now that my back hurts just because there's a pea beneath my mattress. That's the story. It's a fairy tale. It's like this princess.
Yes, it rings a bell very vaguely, but I only heard about this recently. Maybe you told me. I don't know.
Maybe.
I definitely did not know this story as a child.
Oh, well, no. There you go. You learned something. Do you have anything, a moment, just on the top of your head?
I don't know. I was thinking about this. I definitely agree with a mattress. I remember I used to sleep on like this pull-out sofa from IKEA, and it was basically wood. Like it was literally just a wooden, like a big wooden crate, basically. The mattress was barely there. And I slept on that for like years and years and years, and it was so close to the ground. It was like on the ground, basically. And that was completely fine. Like I never felt bad or anything. I never woke up exhausted or in pain. Whereas now, yeah, that is definitely a thing now for me as well. I don't know. I don't know if there's like specific moment. Well, like I've mentioned this before, but like, I don't know. This is maybe weird, but when I would see people on TV and I'd be like, oh, I really like them. I really want to dress like them, or oh, those are really attractive men. And then they always used to be a lot older, and now I sometimes have that, and I Google them, and they're like younger than me, and that's a little weird. And for me, mainly my skin. Like my skin has always been fine and like more on the oily side, but these past couple of years, like my hands need to be slathered in hand cream during the winter months, because they're so dry. And my face as well. Like now when I get out of the shower, it's like pulling, and I can just feel it. Like it really hurts when I try to move my face. So I immediately need to moisturize everything. And that is something that I never had before.
Yeah. Use CeraVe. It's the best face wash. Gives you the right amount of moisture. Changed my life.
Yeah, I really need to.
Okay. And then I've got one last point from that thread that then leads me into a whole different topic. So the last point was when I overheard my teenage niece and her friends taking the piss out of things millennials say. So apparently there's a whole thing that I only just read about, which probably also proves that I'm old now, called millennial cringe. There's a whole TikTok world out there where Gen Z just talk about the cringe things millennials do. But what millennial cringe exactly is straightforward. It means anything millennials do that inspires secondhand embarrassment in younger people. For example, the millennial pause. Also, something I just recently learned about. They even had a video of Taylor Swift doing the millennial pause. It's basically the moment before you start recording a video where you just don't speak and just wait for everything to like get going. And there's a Wikipedia article on millennial pause that says that describes millennial pause as the reason why people older than Zoomers tend to include a pause at the start of the videos is to make sure that the device they're using is actually recording before beginning to say anything. In contrast to younger users, they either test the device before or trust that the devices are just working correctly and begin speaking immediately after the recording begins. I definitely do the millennial pause, I think. I mean, I even do it when here it's also for editing purposes, but it makes me feel more comfortable.
So I was watching some videos on like, how to, I don't know, grow your audience on social media, on TikTok and everything. And that's the first time I heard about this as well. So this was a couple of months ago, and there was this woman who was like, do not do this. Like, just literally start the video when you're basically almost halfway through the first word or something. And literally every single time I upload one of our clips on TikTok, I think of this. I'm always like, should I cut more? Is this too long? Is this like, is there too much of a pause now? Yeah. And I made like a little video for my own TikTok where I talked about like something I wrote, like a story. And I didn't really think about it. And then my boyfriend's feedback was like, yeah, like maybe just, cut a bit more so that you don't see, because I literally was like pressing pause and pressing play. And he was like, maybe just cut a bit more so that you don't really see those things. But I also feel like people do that sometimes. But people just, I don't know, don't really edit some, but yeah, I guess millennials.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I'm glad you know about it and you're handling our TikTok, because I would have the millennial pauses in there. Another things that make the youngsters cringe that we do is our humor. And I kind of think they're right here because, well, not that it makes them cringe, but they describe the humor perfectly, because they say we are being overly self-critical and self-deprecating when we make jokes, and we use way too many references from pop culture phenomenons like The Office, fair enough, Friends, fair enough, and of course Harry Potter. But then I started Googling, okay, what are other millennial cringe examples? So these examples I'm saying now are like a mix of tweets and thread answers. The first one's a tweet where someone says, the whole thing with Harry Potter, I grew out of that phase in year 7. Then the second one is another tweet or X post, whatever. It says, millennials were understandably shook when they discovered that their lingo is just outdated, as well as their emoji choices or use of emojis. Why do millennials love to be like adulting? Like, you are pushing 30, sir. I hope you are adulting.
Oh my God.
And then they also said, another phrase that we use is weird flex, but okay. I actually didn't even know that's a millennial thing. I kind of thought that came from the Gen Zs, but okay, noted. Then another thing they mention is the obsession with houseplants. Yeah, I have that, but now I can't have houseplants anymore because my dog eats them. Then another post was, gone are the days when millennials used to mock boomers for their blurry, poorly cropped selfies. Now millennials are the ones taking the heat. Tech-savvy Gen Z has called out the older generation for taking pictures from above, looking at the screen instead of the camera, and sometimes even using portrait mode, and even saying the word selfie instead of cheese.
Okay.
I do like the angle from above because it just makes me look better. But yeah, I did actually then think about how I do it, and I do look at the screen and not at the camera. So, okay.
That is true. And I mean, yeah, some people go a bit too extreme, I think, with the taking like from above.
I mean, you can't go too high. You literally then go back to that emo phase when we were younger, where it's like from above and then you have like the side parting like right here, and it's like, anyway.
Like Madonna.
Yeah.
I do agree with the self-deprecating jokes, and I feel like we all do it, but it really annoys me a little bit as well, because I don't know, sometimes when people do it a lot, you kind of start wondering, like, are you being serious? Are you waiting for people to like say something or like give you a confidence boost, or are you trying to, I don't know, it is a little bit weird. After a while it's like, okay, yeah, you can stop now.
And I also feel like maybe it's not really a millennial thing in our situation. I almost feel like it's more of a British thing. Like, British humor is very self-deprecating, I feel like.
Yeah, that might be true.
And then, again, back to the emojis. I know I mentioned it in that post, but there was another post that says they overuse emojis. And I think it's what we just talked before. If you're a bit insecure, an emoji can make you feel just like, okay, you love me, it's fine. But what Gen Z uses now is the skull emoji instead of like the laughing, crying emoji, because you use the skull and then it means, oh my god, I'm dying. It was so funny.
I use the skull in a very different context.
I don't actually use the skull.
I do. But when I don't know, I can't really think of an example now. But when it's like something somebody said that's like very wild or something, kind of like the clown emoji, but like the next step. Like I don't know. Yeah.
I don't think I probably use the same 3 emojis and that's it all the time. I already thought I'm cool using the crying emoji instead of the laughing crying emoji, but apparently no.
I use that one definitely the most.
Yeah, I use it a lot in our chat. Okay. Then I had an interview where a 16-year-old was interviewed about like millennials and Gen Z, and that 16-year-old said, "They are old people trying to use social media." They try to fit in with the younger generation, but they're not really the younger generation anymore. They try to use older hashtags and GIFs, but they're not very good at it. And then I kept on reading, and there was a big conversation about how millennials just love using GIFs. And I love a GIF. Like, it really, I don't know, I think GIFs get me. And then there was a whole tweet going on about this article, like a tweet, I don't know, thread, and all the millennials were reacting with GIFs on this, obviously. So, yeah.
I actually feel a little bit offended by this because it's like, I'm sorry, but we for the first time had the internet and social media and everything. I don't know. I feel like it's a bit, like we kind of started all of that. So to now be like, oh, you don't know how it works. It's like, no, it just evolved, I guess. This does make me think about, I saw this post on Glamour's Instagram, and Glamour was like, well, one day they were like, what's advice millennials would give to Gen Z? And then there was so many comments about like, chill out, just take your time with things, whatever. Like they actually had like genuine advice. Some tried to be a little bit, I don't know, like petty or bitchy, I think. But overall, like there were so many comments. And then a couple of days later, they were like, okay, Gen Z, now it's your turn. And all of the comments were from millennials. And so then the conclusion was kind of like, Gen Z doesn't read Glamour. They are not visiting this Instagram page.
I love that. Oh my God. Oh. I got a few more, not too many. So the other one was, why do millennials use nouns in the place of verbs? And you will feel attacked. For example, I can't math. Englishing is hard today.
Wait, what do you mean? Who does that?
We apparently like saying sentences like, the math isn't mathing,
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Yeah. And then I was thinking, though, I've read a lot of times online by Gen Z that they say things like, it really do be like that sometimes. That's also not really nice grammar, is it? I prefer the verbs being used as nouns, the nouns being used as verbs. But okay. At least we all know what nouns and verbs are. That's something. Then there's one that says, why do they have Instagram accounts run by their pets? Okay.
Oh, no, I agree with that.
I agree with that as well.
I've always agreed with that. Or children. That should not be allowed. Having an Instagram account for your child, for like a newborn baby.
Yeah, that's a bit much.
Yeah. I'm sorry, I just have to think about that now. I did have like the occasional friend who would be like, have like an Instagram or like a Facebook account for their cats, and it would be something like, Mittens just sent you a friend request, fuck off.
And then the last one, where I feel the most attacked by, is making coffee and pizza a personality trait. That is 100% me. I am coffee, I am pizza, but it's also like I'm genuinely passionate about coffee and pizza. Not as much as like I am about coffee, but well, yeah. My summary is just I can't wait until Generation Alpha comes along and then just does the exact same thing to them. I mean, it's just the circle of life, isn't it?
Yes, because, I remember being younger and being so incredibly annoyed at my family for like not knowing how technology worked or something that was very easy for me or something.
Or when the other older generations, like older as us, started using Facebook and it was like really cringe.
Yeah, and you're like, oh my God, do you know? That's the thing, like with I don't know, with like our parents' generations on Facebook with like the very ugly stickers and things like that.
Yeah.
But then again, I was thinking about Facebook as well, and I'm actually surprised this was not like.
Oh, it was
addressed.
in the list. It was like a thing. Why are you still using Facebook? But I was like, well, I'm not actually, so I just left.
Yeah, but also, like, I am from a time when we would go out and then the next morning literally post like 60, like an album with 60 pictures, and like sometimes like upside down and everything. People didn't even try to like crop it.
Or when Instagram was new and the hardcore filters that I used, like.
Oh, Valencia was like at 100% or something.
Actually, I did read one thing that Gen Z is doing that I'm actually doing for the exact same reason. A thing that they do is they have their phones on Do Not Disturb all the time, most of the time, to avoid the anxiety of unwanted, unexpected calls or like not feel the stress to text back immediately. I have my phone on Do Not Disturb all the time. But I do recommend having your phone on Do Not Disturb if you're not expecting an important call or delivery, because I get too stressed with messaging back and I don't want that. But it also leads to me never messaging back. So
yes, yeah, I agree with that. But also, people, like, my phone has been on silent since literally 2009. People who have their phone, and I'm calling some people out in my own personal life, people who have their ringtone on, what kind of sociopath are you?
not just the ringtone, but also when they're typing, you can hear the clicking sound. Why? Why do you need that? There's not even a real key that you're pressing.
No, that is, I really don't understand. Or then people who, did you do that recently? Yes, you did. We were in the office together. When I get a call from like a scam number at least twice a day, and then I just Google the number and it's always like rated negatively. Okay, fine. I move on with my life. Sometimes I block the number. People who get called by like an unknown number and pick up.
I always need to pick up. I need to know who it is. And also, if it's a scammer, I scam back. Like, I annoy them sometimes with my questions.
I do like that. I saw someone post something about like how they pretended to be old and tried to like dictate their card number, but like had it wrong 6 times, and the person on the other end was like losing it. I was like, never mind.
Oh, no. I need to know who calls me. I don't know why. I'm too nosy not to know.
Yeah, no, I Google.
And yeah, that was all. That was all of that. I don't know if that was interesting to any of the people listening, but I just found it funny.
Yeah, it was. I feel, well, like I said, I feel a little bit called out. Okay, shall I do another little story? So, the story is a man who says, I'm going to retire soon. I work at the airport and the job allows me to have cheaper flights. My wife asked me if we could use my discount to go on a family vacation. Over the holidays, I informed all the kids and their spouses that we are going on vacation and they are welcome to join. They need to give us the prices for the tickets and the rest is paid for by us. Later that month, I informed them over the group chat that they need to give the money by the 30th of January so I can buy the tickets the next day. I got everyone's money besides Jenny. Jenny is my daughter-in-law and she has a habit of being late to events and other things. I gave her a call on the 29th and she never answered. I bought the tickets and Jenny doesn't have a ticket. My son does have one since he gave me the money a while ago. And according to them, they separate money. I never heard back from Jenny until now. We are leaving this Friday. She was asking what time the flight was. I told her she wasn't going since she never gave me the cash. She doesn't have a ticket. This is where the argument started. She's calling me a jerk. Your father-in-law, wow, for not buying her a ticket. And I told her this was a hard deadline. You didn't send the money, so either you don't go or you pay for a ticket full price. You're an adult. You need to understand the deadline, and I'm not chasing you around. The family is torn. They agree it's her fault, but I could have been nicer. Yeah, that's it. Oh, he also says, I don't know if my son is coming on the trip or not.
So the question is if he's the asshole?
Yes. Is he the asshole for saying that there was a deadline and just buying
No,
everyone tickets.
It's not an
but her.
asshole. That's a really nice thing. Why wouldn't you just react to the deadline? Like,
I know. I feel like this just, there are so many ways how like this could have been
handled. Yeah.
fake like resolved before literally almost like the week of the trip, because also that son, I kind of feel like he could have at some point been like, hey, I gave my dad the money for my ticket, like, have you done this? Or like, or checked with his father, like, did you buy her a ticket or for her to, I don't understand how she does not give the money and then just expects that somehow magically a ticket has been purchased for her.
Yeah.
I don't know.
No, that's just being simply rude on her side. Like, if you get offered a trip and someone organizes it for you, you either say you can afford it or you can't, or you go or you don't go. But no.
Although I do think if I was the father, I think I would have said something before, even just.
I mean, yeah, he could also have reached out again and check. By the way, is this happening? Because I'm gonna.
Or just literally have been like, listen, I bought everyone tickets apart from Jenny, but not like, I think I would have let her know, like, okay, as things currently stand, you are not going. So you need to sort that out.
It's been handled wrong on both sides. Yeah.
Okay. Do you have one?
I got a money story. So, after 30 years of steady progress, I'm making pretty good money. I just recently readjusted my pension scheme, so I won't overpay into it this year, and the change in my take-home pay is now more than my roommate pays in rent in my sort of low-end ugly house in a poor neighborhood. Both of my roommates and several friends are constantly struggling with money. I try to help by drastically undercharging on rent. They probably pay half what the going rate is for rooms in my city, and being the one who buys takeout on movie nights. But they still struggle. I pretty much downplay my income and will downplay my available money by pointing out the college expenses I pay for my child and the cost of filling my old Chunko car with gas. I was hanging out with a friend recently and he asked what I made. I was being honest. He called me a jerk and said I was condescending to my friends by acting poor. He was actively angry that I'm faking being poor. Meanwhile, I'm trying to save up so I have a warm place to go to the bathroom when I'm old. That's such a weird way of putting it. I'm going to charge rent to live in my house. It seems wrong to have people live there rent free. I just way undercharge. I have no desire to get a fancy new car or show off with a nicer house. I do spend money on travel, but that's rare due to my job needing me around. And no one sees how nice I actually travel. Am I the asshole for acting poor?
Well, why is she acting poor? Because she's charging rent?
She's acting poor because she keeps pointing out college expenses that she pays for her child and the cost that she has to pay for the gas, I think, and that she's downplaying her income in general.
Oh, okay. No, I don't think so.
I think it's fine. Like, she's obviously already I don't think you have to live anyone rent free in your house. Like, there's still maintenance costs and everything, and I mean, that is you being nice. That is you being a supporting friend. And then also, it's not really anyone's business what you earn, is it? Like, it's not like you're showing off. You're not like acting, by the way, I'm a rich bitch. Here are my new necklaces and shoes, and here's my car. But you're struggling? Well, that's your problem. Like, she's not doing that. So I don't think she is an asshole, really.
No, and I think, like if you're roommates or flatmates or housemates or whatever, well, I think, she's already the people who live with her have a good deal by the sounds of it if they pay like half of what the average rate would be. So that I feel like if one person just earns a lot more, then like good for them, I guess. I don't think that should mean that, I don't know, other people, and she already does pay for quite a lot.
And
if she pays for their food.
I don't even think she's acting like she's poor. You can earn money and still say how much gas you are paying and how much college expenses, especially because that's actually in the US. So it is a lot of money to pay for college.
I mean, that's literally what we did in last week's episode. Yeah. Where we also, it's not because there are people who have less money than you that you can't be like, okay, my rent has increased again and this is getting a little difficult. Like, that doesn't mean that other people don't have it worse than you. That just means that
that's your situation and you want to talk about it also.
Yeah.
I think that was my last story also that I had.
Okay. Well, I can do one more about plastic surgery, or we can stop.
Yeah, let's do it. Why not?
Am I the asshole? Here I will say the title. Am I the asshole for telling my sister about my partner's plastic surgery? My girlfriend and I moved to Europe a few years ago, and she ended up getting a lot of plastic surgery while we were out there that I begged her not to get. She got I have no idea what this is, and I told myself I was going to Google it, but I didn't do that. And I don't know how to pronounce this word, so let me just skip. A nose job, fillers, chin surgery, and I don't even know what else. I hate to say it, but it decreased her attractiveness. Don't get me wrong, she's still beautiful, but not nearly as gorgeous as she used to be. It also just makes me sad that she removed all the features that I loved. She looks hollowed out and tired. But she doesn't want to admit that she got plastic surgery. I think cosmetic surgery is probably more accurate, but okay. We're back from Europe now, and people started commenting on her looks at dinner. One of her friends just straight out asked if she got something done, and she said no. She said it was just aging. Of course, she was going to look different. She said she's 27. I was shocked. I could not believe that she could play that card when the results are so dramatically different. It is so obvious that she's lying, but nobody has called her out on it. My sister has been staying at my parents' house because we're here, and she has been weirdly obsessed with her looks ever since she saw my girlfriend. She's only 24 and she's truly a baby. He also says later that his sister is like, his words are that she can be quite naive for a 24-year-old, and that she has a tendency to like hyperfixate on things, and that she can get a little bit anxious over like smaller things like this. So my sister admitted to me that seeing my girlfriend brought up feelings of anxiety towards aging. She said she didn't know people could change so much, and it was stressing her out. She started freaking out about a line she found on her forehead, which was barely noticeable. She isn't a person that is super fixated on her looks normally, so it surprised me, but she was buying a lot of anti-aging skincare and applying it multiple times a day. It hurt me to see her like that. She kept putting retinol on her face and would ask me daily if I could see the lines going away when there were no lines to begin with. After her spiraling one day, I finally broke down and said, dude, you're freaking out about aging because of my girlfriend. Chill out. She got plastic surgery. You don't just randomly have totally different facial features after you hit 25. You're going to look exactly the same as you do now in 3 years. She is way too young to be worrying about aging like that. So just telling her that, thank God, made her drop the subject. At the end of the day, my sister's well-being and mental health matters more to me than anything. This is where he says she is maybe a bit more naive than you would expect from a 24-year-old, and she looks up to my girlfriend and me a lot. Last week, my girlfriend asked me if I told anyone about her plastic surgery. I admitted I did tell my sister because I didn't want to lie about it, and now she is very angry at me. Was I wrong to tell her? My girlfriend didn't outright say not to tell people, but it was obvious she wanted me to lie for her and expected me to do that.
No, I think he did the right thing telling his sister. It's not like he went on a rooftop and screamed out that his girlfriend had plastic surgery, but I think that is exactly the problem that we have now, not just with plastic surgery, but with all the face editing, whatever tools we have on social media. It's the younger people seeing this and being like, I need to look like this, and then they starve themselves and do whatever because they think it's normal to just look like that. So I think it would help if people were just being honest with what they edit and what kind of plastic surgery they get, especially, I mean, in her case, she's probably not a public figure. I think that accounts especially for public figures that then present themselves with, this is just how I wake up, but no, this is the little Botox and filler. So I think in that scenario, yes, he should be allowed to tell that to his little sister. But then again, I also don't think people should just sit there and be like, did you get anything done? Like, why? Just don't comment on people's appearances. Yes, you might see a change, but then you don't know why they did it. Like, just let them be. you don't in a group of people need to ask them these questions.
No, I agree with that. And that is kind of difficult because it's like, yeah, let's say that your partner does get something done and the difference is like quite noticeable and then kind of doesn't want to tell anyone, and then people ask you or like that comes up. Are you then supposed to be like, what? No, there's no difference. I mean, I have seen people who I went to school with and like they look like different. Like when I say different people, I mean like different people. I would never, if you would have shown me a picture of them today, I never would have been like, oh, that's this person, like different people. So, and yeah, like with celebrities, I definitely feel like, I mean, no, you did not, the shape of your body did not magically change. You did not magically get an entirely new nose in like just by aging. So then I feel like, why lie? Because then eventually they always admit it. A couple of years later, they're always like, yeah, I did have a nose job. Well, then just say that. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, but in this case, it kind of looks like the sister doesn't feel like, oh, I need to look like this. It seems like she's like, oh my God, is this what you look like when you're 27? It seems like the sister is a little bit scared. Well, he did also add that he was like, he said that he needs to talk to her about the future and their relationship in general, because not because of the cosmetic surgery or anything, but because she kind of watched his sister kind of spiral and she didn't really care about that. And she was like, well, many young women care about their looks. She'll get over it. Whereas I do feel like, yeah, then you kind of have maybe not the responsibility, but morally, I feel like if you know that this younger woman is looking up to you, maybe say like, this is not reality. I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah, this is not how it naturally happens. Yeah. Oh, well, that was a good one.
Oh, well, okay. Good. Okay. I think we're done here.
We're done here. It was an easy one. It was a quick one. It was a lighter one.
We just realized that we completely forgot to do your highs and lows at the beginning of this episode. So let's end with that then. What are your highs and lows this week?
My low is I am on my period, and that's always a low because it's painful and it's annoying. But it is what it is. And then my highs is I have several highs. I had really good news at work this week. So that's a high. And I'm really looking forward to my weekend because we're going to Canterbury and we're meeting some friends there, and Otti's going to come with us. So because our friends also have a dog, the dog's a year old. Dogs can play. There's a little garden in the cottage that we rented as well, so she can run around because we are dog owners in a flat too. So she doesn't have a garden. And I'm acting like this because sometimes people are like, oh, poor dog in the flat. It's not a poor dog in the flat if you take the dog out for enough walks and play with them and give them enough entertainment inside. It's hard for you because at the beginning of having a dog, you have to walk up and down the stairs many times. Anyway, so yeah, I'm really looking forward to this weekend. I think it's going to be nice. The weather's going to be not great, but Otti's used to be a wet poodle.
Yeah, Canterbury's so lovely.
Oh yeah, you've been.
Yeah, we went this summer. Yeah, that must be. That sounds like a very nice weekend. And no, I don't think I've never heard of a dog that gets more exercise than yours. I think.
Yeah, today I took her for 2 big walks because, I don't know, I just felt the sun was out twice today and I was like, I need to take advantage of it. And every time she goes for walks, she meets other doggies and we let them play a little. So she's a well-exercised dog. She was completely knocked out when I left to record this episode. And that's usually the goal of my day, get her knocked out.
Yeah.
Okay, well, we have no idea how to segue out of this episode because I don't know, maybe it's a little bit low energy, maybe it's the period taking over. But before we leave, we would just love to remind you all that it would mean a lot to us and it would help us a lot if you could like the podcast, share the podcast, rate the podcast on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, wherever you listen to the podcast, and yeah, give us a follow on Instagram. Just any support really helps us. And also in our description box, if you want to give us that extra bit of love, you can buy us a coffee if you'd like. The link is in, sorry.
Yeah, it doesn't even have to be the price of a coffee. It can be £1.
It's just a little tip jar, you know.
It is, yeah. It's like an online tip jar.
Yeah, the link to this is in the description box, and you might be thinking, not in this economy, and that's okay also, because we get it.
Yes, but yeah, it would be like word of mouth is so important. So if you could recommend an episode that you liked to someone that you think might find it relatable, there has to be one. Come on, we've covered so many topics at this point. So yeah, that would be great. So thank you, and we'll be back next week.
We will, and we hope you will be there too.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.